I am all for planning, for doing your Sunday strategy and mapping out your week, planning what you're going to do every day. And then I'm all for sticking to that plan. But we have to be willing to roll with what life throws at you. What's that pearl of wisdom from Mike Tyson? Yes, there is one, right? He said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Hi, I'm Chris LeBrun, your host of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. As someone who's never been afraid of dreaming big and going for it all, I often find myself with a lot on my plate. I'm a husband and father, a nonprofit fundraiser, and an entrepreneur. What I've realized is my view of productivity was pretty toxic. After decades of believing that in order to do more, you had to work harder, I began to see productivity as this beautiful thing. Holistic productivity is the idea that you can accomplish your professional, personal, and purpose-driven goals in a healthy way, and doing so will make you happier and more fulfilled. Join me each week as we break down myths about productivity, share practical tips for maximizing your time, energy, and focus, and hear from others about their productivity journey. This is the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. Hello and welcome to episode number 45 of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. My name is Chris LeBrun. I'm your host. I am a productivity coach here and founder of Wholistic Productivity, and just so glad that you are listening to the podcast today. This is going to be different than any one we've done, hopefully than anyone I ever do, but there's just a lot going on right now in our family, and I'm going to be a little bit honest and personal here just for a few minutes. Our 22-year-old son has been fighting a really bad infection really for the last 2.5 months. He's been in the hospital 4 times now. When he's not in the hospital, he's been on antibiotics here at home. We do that 3 times a day for at least almost 10 weeks that he's been doing that at home. So like I said, there's just a lot going on. And if I am honest with you, I'm not really sure that I have a whole lot of mental energy to do a really long podcast that's, the normal thing. Let's pause here for a quick break. We'll be right back. If you've ever gone down the rabbit hole of trying every to-do list or project management app, you know how exhausting it can be. You download the app, you set it up, enter all your data, and then scramble to cancel it before the trial ends. Trust me, I've been there and it's no fun. That's why I love Efficient.app. Alex and Andra, a husband and wife team, have spent over a decade testing and reviewing software of all types so you don't have to. Calendars, project management, banking, planners, email marketing, you name it, they've covered it with honest reviews and side-by-side comparisons. And they don't sugarcoat it. If a tool isn't worth your time, they tell you straight up. I've personally found their reviews super helpful when I was trying to sort through different project management apps. It saved me a ton of time and frustration. Best of all, they often have special deals on the tools they recommend so that you can save money. I'm especially grateful to Efficient.app because they've been supporting the Holistic Productivity Podcast since the very beginning. The best way to check them out and support the podcast is through the link in the show notes. So next time you're looking for software, let Efficient.app do the work for you. Trust me, you will not regret it. We do. And that's okay. That's the way it should be. And really why I wanted to record this short episode this week. I've honestly been struggling with, what I should do. Should I talk about it? Should I skip an episode? Should I go on as planned? But I felt like the best thing to do was to have this honest conversation because, if you've been listening from the beginning, if you've been following Holistic Productivity through this journey of the podcast and the planner and everything that, is happening with Holistic Productivity, you know that this whole philosophy is built on the idea that we have 3 distinct and unique pillars in our lives: professional, personal, and purpose-driven. If you're new to the podcast, you may want to go back and check out episode number 2. I go into a lot more detail on that, this thing that is so foundational to holistic productivity. I'll put a link in the show notes. But I believe that we aren't living a true version of ourselves if we're not achieving the goals and dreams that we have in all 3 of these areas. When you are achieving in all 3 areas, that's when we have the best opportunity for happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment in our lives. Now, it's not promised or guaranteed, but it's really hard to find fulfillment when goals in one or more of these areas that are foundational to who we are, when those goals are being left unmet and unrealized. Over the last 2 months, I've been silently reevaluating a lot of the things that I thought were important. Outings and events have changed or gone away. We were planning a European vacation for the holidays. That didn't happen. Basically, anything that is time, money, or resources have been put through the analysis process, because our biggest priority has been making sure that our son is getting the care he needs. And I know that you are probably saying, well, duh, Chris, he's your son. But unfortunately, there are people out there who don't think that way. And it's not as common as you think. We get so caught up in all of these things that we believe have value. And, everybody has been great. Our employers, our friends, family. We're so grateful for the people who have brought food to us or sent us, DoorDash cards. We're so grateful for everybody who checks in and is keeping us in prayer and, trying to find out how Chris is doing. My son's name is also Chris. But, I talk a lot about balance and mental health and staying intentional about moving our goals forward. But today I have to put that into practice in my own life. Today is a day that I would be working on my podcast, and sometimes I'm working ahead. Sometimes I'm working on that week, but today is the day that I would be working on my podcast, and I just don't have that mental or physical energy to do it today. There's a lot of other things that have been pushed aside that I need to make sure that I'm focusing on as well. And don't get me wrong, I love doing this. It's not a burden. I love coming on and talking with you and sharing my ideas. Hopefully they are helpful for you. I mean, that's the reason that I do this, right? To help you dream big, plan smart, live fully, all of that. And I'm so grateful that you listen and support the show and holistic productivity. But there is this feeling that I have that I am shirking my responsibility if I don't put out a podcast. I'm the one that puts pressure on myself to have a new episode week after week after week. And it's not pressure when life is going great, right? But today I struggle with not wanting to let you down when the reality is I'm letting myself down if I don't prioritize myself. There have been so many nights spent in an uncomfortable chair in the ER, so many things, like I said, that have just been piling up in other areas of life. And honestly, there is a lot of mental, physical fatigue that both my wife and I, and definitely our sons, are dealing with. But there are 3 points that I want to leave with you. This is not just a pity party for Chris. I actually have something that I want to share. And I think that this is the best moment to share this, and being honest and open with you is the best way to share this. So 3 points real quickly that I want to share as we wrap up this episode for this week. Number 1, take care of yourself first. This can sound very selfish, but it is not, believe me. Think about the safety presentation that they have on airlines. When you go to fly, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first because you're no good to the people around you, your kids, your maybe older people that you're traveling with, if you are passed out from lack of oxygen, right? You're no good to those around you if you're not okay. And right now, I can't be here for my wife, for my sons, for my employer, for you, the podcast audience, if I'm not taking care of myself. When I'm run down mentally, physically, emotionally, I am not good for anybody. And that is true for you as well. So, number one point, take care of yourself first. Number two that I want to leave you with, yesterday's priorities don't have to be today's priorities. Now, I am all for planning, for doing your Sunday strategy and mapping out your week, planning what you're going to do every day. And then I'm all for sticking to that plan. But we have to be willing to roll with what life throws at you. What's that pearl of wisdom from Mike Tyson? Yes, there is one, right? He said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. As my friend Garrett says, when life gets lifey, this may be the time to reassess and reprioritize. And I know that sounds obvious, but we don't always do it. We get so locked into what we think we're supposed to do or what the plan is. But you have to be willing to challenge your own preconceived ideas of what's important and what's not, and move forward with what is right in that moment. Let's pause here for a quick break. We'll be right back. Living with pain is no fun at all. Whether it's sore muscles from a workout, nagging joints, or even stress that just won't leave you alone. That's why I love Little Golden Shepherd. They make all natural butters from organic herbs and essential oils, formulated to ease pain, reduce stress, and even soothe sensitive skin. I use the muscle butter after tough workouts, and the joint butter is perfect for my knees, which somehow were bad even when I was a kid. I'm so grateful to have Little Golden Shepherd sponsoring the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. The way they support the show is super simple. Every time you shop through the link in the show notes, a portion of your order helps keep this podcast going. And here's the best part. If you use the promo code WHOLEPROD, you'll save 15% on your first order. That's promo code WHOLEPROD, WHOLPROD. Try Little Golden Shepherd today. You're going to love it as much as I do, and your muscles will too. Now, number three, give yourself as much grace as you give others. I realize that you probably wouldn't be upset if I didn't release a podcast this week. In fact, I'm aware that you might not even notice, right? There's real things that are going on in the world. You might not even notice if there's not a podcast episode. And if you knew everything that was going on in our lives, you definitely wouldn't be upset. And I know I wouldn't be if the roles were reversed. And I would be the first person to tell you to prioritize yourself and your family. So why is it harder for me to give myself that same permission, that same grace to keep the main thing and focus on what we need to in those moments? So again, I just want to leave those three things with you. Take care of yourself first. Yesterday's priorities don't have to be today's priorities. And number three, give yourself as much grace as you give others. Okay? That is it. That's all I have for the show today. You can check out the show notes at holisticproductivity.com/45. That's where we'll have the link for episode number 2. Actually, you could just go to holisticproductivity.com/2 and find that there. Follow at Wholistic Productivity on social media. You can find that on virtually every social media platform that is out there. So go check out at Wholistic Productivity. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. And that's the way that you will get the next episode when it comes out. Hopefully it's going to be next Tuesday. I think it's going to be next Tuesday. So just do that, but make sure that you get alerted as soon as that comes out. And again, I always want to invite you to join the Wholistic Productivity on school. There's a lot of great things. I'm telling you, this is a global community. We just had somebody join from Singapore and West Africa. I mean, there are people all over the world who are joining this, and it's so exciting. I hope you are the next person to join. Again, you can find that link in the show notes for school, for the Holistic Productivity Community on school. So I will see you back here next time. Until then, just please remember holistic productivity. The reason that I do this show is to help you dream big, plan smart, and live fully. And I hope you can do that here today. Take care.